Well, I feel like a broken record because the Boston Bruins lost 4-0 to the once winless Nashville Predators for being undisciplined. The Boston Bruins record now is 3-3-1, which isn't bad, but isn't good either. The rest of the Atlantic Division is not the best right now, and there only separates like 1 point between them and first, so whatever at this point. There were very few bright spots from the 4-0 loss, but I will do my best to focus on them, like the fact that the Western road trip is over, and for some of us, we don't have to try and stay up late to watch these games and still be functioning humans the next day. As always with my game recaps, I will focus on the highs and lows from Game 7 of the year against the Nashville Predators. Also, let me know what you thought of the game, because I would love to hear from you. So buckle up, Bruins fans. I'm here to give you the latest info on your beloved Boston Bruins. If you've been liking my Bruins content, please leave me a like and subscribe. If you've already done so, thank you, and let's get into it. Before I even start the recap of the game, I want to touch on the changes before the game, like Max Jones was inserted back into the lineup, and the lines got thrown into a blender. Marchand is up on the first line with Lundholm and Pastrnak, while Max Jones gets rewarded by being put on the second line with Coyle and Frederick, and somehow plays 11 minutes a game while also serving 4 minutes in penalties. Your third line is Zacha, Patra, and Geekie, but because of the penalties, we don't get to see much of them in the first. Heck, because of the penalties, Pastrnak will only play just over 9 minutes in the first 2 periods of this hockey game. This lineup reeked of desperation from Montgomery to find some chemistry. He said as much before the game, though.
Well, I want to see us pressuring pucks more. I mean, when we're at our best, we're causing turnovers in all 3 zones. And last game, we did that in the D zone, but we didn't do it in the other 2 zones. So we need to be just skating. We're ready to skate and work a little more.
And did you like the energy in practice this morning? It seemed like the guys all the jump.
Yeah, I thought guys were in a good mental space, and I thought, they were excited to be back on the ice, which is always a great sign.
We saw some different looks out there. What are you looking to do with that top 9?
Trying to generate some chemistry. I mean, it's been inconsistent in our first 6 games, so we're just looking at different ways to support certain players, get other players, on their toes, and you're just hopeful that these line combinations will create some more offense and more success for us.
And Max Jones, I know he missed some time during camp. Have you seen him rounding back into playing shape? Yeah.
Last practice, I thought he had a good practice, and then I thought this morning was the best I've seen him on his toes, looking like he's an elite skater in this league. And this morning, that was very evident. I think that's just him getting comfortable within how we play and knowing when it's time to go and when time to back check.
Well, the first period started off good, besides the Pastrnak penalty for hooking 19 seconds into the game. But good thing, Nashville was gripping their sticks just as tight and take a penalty 1 second later to even it up. Swayman was the story of the first period, making some huge saves and bailing his team out. The Bruins played with jump, and once again, especially the fourth line. Kastelic drops the mitts with Luke Schenn and completely overpowers him, but does cut up his hands a little bit, so when he gets out of the box, he needs to get a little fixed up. You'd think the Bruins got inspired because they have a little life and are taking shots and driving to the net. They're taking chances and getting rewarded with scoring chances. Nashville is playing desperate hockey and trying everything to put the puck in the net. Max Jones, on the other hand, doesn't get the memo and takes a stupid penalty, but the Bruins kill it. The Bruins then go on the power play and actually get shots on net for a change. They move the puck around the outside well, and they get some quality looks, but Saros stands tall. Max Jones gets his second penalty of the period, and you get a bad feeling about this one because, again, stupid penalty. You just get the sense something bad is going to happen, and bang, the puck is in the back of the net, and Nashville is up 1-0 on a double tip. If Nashville doesn't score, I would have said the Bruins played a pretty good period of hockey. The defense and forwards had a couple giveaways, but also made some nice plays. But Nashville's putting a lot of pressure on the Bruins D, and their forwards are playing pretty high. The Bruins didn't look flat, and even though they go down 1-0, it wasn't a bad period of hockey. If you're counting though, the Bruins took 4 penalties in the first period, and 2 of them were Max Jones. If the Bruins were looking to find chemistry, then playing the majority of the period a man down isn't going to help. I'm wondering what the trainers had to do to warm these guys' legs up to start the second, because they don't come out flat. Getting so many penalties can ice a player and make it very hard for them to get that player back into the game. Especially a guy like Pastrnak, who you can't have sitting as much as he was in the first and expect to win the hockey game. The second is going to be different, right? Unfortunately, it wasn't. I'm also not going to single out any particular players, as I'm trying to be a little positive here, and it's only Game 7. But Nikita Zadorov, 7 minutes into the second, might have set a Bruins record, and he got another penalty. This is his 7th straight game to start the season to get a penalty. I've tried looking this up, but can't seem to find anything. But we'll keep looking and keep you updated. After the game, Zadorov took full responsibility for his actions and admits he needs to be better.
Some guys sitting for 10 minutes, not getting shift, losing their legs, takes away momentum of the game, give the momentum to other teams. So yeah.
And what's kind of the solution to get over that hump where you're getting penalized all the time?
Well, I got 7 in a row. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's on me. Obviously, I got to be better with those penalties. Sometimes they happen. Try to save a play, try to make a hard play, turnover. You don't want a puck to go in your net. You got to prevent it. You got to take a penalty. So unfortunately, that will happen today, for me at least. Yeah, I know for. It's what we had, 16 penalty minutes. That's too much. For sure, you can't win the hockey games like that.
He mentions he did it to stop a goal, but who to say Swayman doesn't make the save? Because once again, he showed up, but couldn't bail his team out all game. You very rarely go a full game without a penalty, but the Bruins continue to get these ticky-tacky stick infractions that just need to stop at this point. They're lazy penalties, or they're just showing you they're caught out of position and had to take a stupid penalty to get themselves back there. A lot was said during the offseason that players don't want to play in the preseason. But guess what, guys? You need to play together to build chemistry. And with the amount of turnover the Bruins saw this summer, I can't understand why they didn't play more. I can't continue to hear from Monty about trying to build chemistry when it's the regular season now. The lines are continually thrown in the blender. And Monty, for some reason, continues to put Jones in the lineup because he looked great at practice. How did he look in the game, though, Monty? Singling out Jones is wrong of me because he isn't the only guy that didn't have his best game. But I can't fault the guys that get no PK time because they're sitting on the bench for long stretches of the game, and then you expect them to go out and have a great shift after sitting for so long on the bench. How are they supposed to find a rhythm? Now comes the double minor from Charlie McAvoy, who's trying to lift Stamkos' stick, only gets a double minor because Stamkos has a little blood. When I say a little, I mean a little. The guy touches his face so many times after this play and finally got what appears to be blood on his hands. The rule about it being a double minor if blood is drawn is a weird one to me because sometimes it's called and sometimes we don't even see a penalty on the play and the player is gushing blood. But for some reason, tiny scratch, 4-minute penalty. It should be about the action and not the outcome, I feel. But this is the NHL, and they do what they want because it's their league. The Bruins kill off the penalty, sort of, because as soon as McAvoy hops out of the box, Nashville scores this one, and I think Swayman kind of wanted this one back because it leaks under his arm, but nonetheless, it's 2-0 Nashville. Right before that, though, Swayman had to make a ton of nice saves because the Bruins were killing a 4-minute penalty. I didn't think the guys looked like they had a lot of life after this one, but after the game, Monty says different.
It's discipline. We're taking far too many stick penalties, and especially you want to prevent scoring chances and take good penalties, and usually you're going to kill those off. We're having too many in the offensive zone, and we got to sharpen that up.
Passes tonight, it seems kind of soft, and they went to places where guys went. What leads to that?
I think, right now some guys haven't had any offensive success, and usually you're trying to be perfect, and when you try to be perfect and instead of just trusting your instincts, passing tends to go awry.
When you have a stretch like this where you only score 1 goal in 2 games, what's the kind of the message to maybe prevent guys from having their stick a little too tough?
Yeah, just to keep working. We cannot beat ourselves, and that it's a long season. We got to keep grinding. We got to get better and better every day.
You mentioned the penalty kill, that just letting that one in 2 seconds after killing the double minor, that kind of take the air out of the team a little bit, going down 2-0 there?
You know what? I don't know if it did. I thought that we responded well right after that. But again, it's the fact we have to kill off a 4-minute penalty after we've already tried to kill off 3 in the first, which we only killed off 1. It overtaxes certain players. Certain players are playing too many minutes. Other players are sitting on the bench too long.
Does that really, when you're killing him like that, does that mess with your lineup and Pasta, your ability to get Pasta on the ice?
Well, Pasta only had 9 minutes and 30 seconds, I think, after 2 periods because we had to kill 6 minors.
And if guys start to lose maybe confidence when you're going through a little stretch like this, what do you have to do to kind of build them back up or prevent them from sinking a little lower?
Well, I think one is we stick together, 2 is we have a process that has given us a lot of success. We got to get back to that. We have, unfortunately, it's either sometimes we're not starting on time or sometimes we're not finishing playing 60 minutes. Like you look at the first 7 minutes of the second, that was Bruins hockey. Why do we get away from that? Some of it, is we just got to continue to believe in being patient and believe in the process.
So after 2 periods, it's 2-0 Nashville. Now, in the third period, the Bruins don't take a single penalty, But they already served 16 minutes in the first 2 periods, which is almost a whole period in the box. Nashville got 2 penalties this period, and the Bruins seemed to be moving their feet. The power play seemed to move the puck around well, but when they did take a shot, Saros had 0 issues tracking it because they had no one in front of him, and the Bruins kind of made it easy on him. Don't get me wrong, Saros made some great saves and probably played his best game of the season so far, but the Bruins didn't get goalied here. They beat themselves again. The Bruins applied some pressure, but I felt it was too little too late, and I never got a sense that they could get back in the game. Nashville will get on a 2-on-1 caused by a turnover, and the Bruins player pinching, and the puck is in the back of the net. Would have loved for Swayman to have this one, but as I mentioned before, he'd bailed his team out countless times leading up to this goal, so I would love to get on him about this one, but I won't. Nashville would score an empty netter not long after to make it 4-0, and that's your final score. At the end of the day, when you lose 4-0, it isn't on your goalie by any means, because early on in the game, he made saves to keep them in the game, but as the team, the Bruins continued to take stupid penalty after stupid penalty. After 7 games, the Bruins rank 21st in the league for goals for per game with 3, 22nd for goals for against with 3.43, 24th on the power play with a 13.8% success rate, and 9th on the PK with an 82.9 success rate. Let's be honest, these numbers aren't great, and they're not going to win you a lot of hockey games. The Bruins lead the league with 100 penalty minutes taken so far this season. They are joined by such fantastic franchises like the San Jose Sharks, the Philadelphia Flyers, the Buffalo Sabres, and the Utah Hockey Club. All these clubs are not expected to make the playoffs and are very young teams, so penalties are expected. The New York Rangers are next on this list with 79 minutes, who are a team everyone expects to make the playoffs, but 79 to 100 is a huge gap in the NHL, and if the Bruins can't nip this in the bud, we're in for a long season and possibly not even making the playoffs. The good news, it is very early in the season, and they can fix this and play smarter. I'm kind of okay with them having a 2-game skid this early on, but the schedule isn't about to get any easier because their next game is at home against the Dallas Stars. So we could easily see a 3-game skid coming up. I would think Monty goes with Korpisalo on Thursday. He'll let Swayman play against Toronto at home on Saturday. I would also expect the Bruins to make a decision on Tufte or Jones. Neither player has played good. And send one down and sign Johnson to a 1-year deal. It's probably going to be Tufte because that's the one that gives you cap relief. Maybe Johnson can help settle this room down and give them something they're missing. But this is a big maybe here. It's very early, so I'm not calling for the coach to be fired or hitting the panic button. But they look lost out there, and they're chasing the game far too often lately. They will be at home the next 3 games, and I hope to see a better Bruins team. That's a wrap on today's video. To stay up to date on all the news surrounding the Boston Bruins, please subscribe and drop me a like. If news breaks surrounding the Boston Bruins, be sure to check out the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, thank you, and I'll see you next time.